All right, so the power rankings for the Chinese Grand Prix are out, and as we can see, we've got Piastri top in the standings, 9.6 rating, which I think is very fair for the guy. Obviously, pretty decent sprint, had a good quality there, and managed to get past Max in the sprint, finished P2. Obviously, he couldn't catch up with Ham, but the tyre deg was not quite there for the McLarens, and they improved that for the race. And he ended up with a pretty solid drive to P1 from pole, which was his first pole of his career, which is pretty impressive because I feel like he definitely would have had it by now, but not so. And I'm glad that this was the weekend that he was able to pattern it up. But looking down the rankings, we can have George, P2 in the rankings, 8.8 rating, which, as I say, this guy's been underrated this season. He's doing a lot more than perhaps people are giving him credit for in the Merc. You know, that car is definitely not supposed to be up there, but he's being right up there. And yeah, he's going under the radar, I think, in some people's eyes. But this is a deserved rating from him. We have Ocon. Ocon P3 in this driver's ranking. And yeah, this guy, after the disqualifications for the Ferrari boys, finished P5 in a Haas. That's massive points for the team, and massive points for him as well after Melbourne. Honestly, well done to the guy. Looking down the rankings, Albon, again, solid drive, and there's gonna be some questions being asked about Sainz pretty soon if Albon can keep on putting up these performances, because he's driving amazingly so far. Verstappen, you know, he still had a pretty good weekend. Obviously, the guys above him slightly more impressive, perhaps in lesser cars. But Verstappen, again, solid drive, sprint P3, race P4. He's been driving well in a car that we know is not the fastest at the moment. Norris, honestly, I'm surprised that maybe not. He clutched up in the race, but in the sprint, not it, man. What's it? P6 in the sprint qualifying, and then lost places at the start and only recovered back to P8 in the sprint race. I mean, McLaren did manage to fix up the car for the race, so he was able to keep the P2. Well, to get the P2 off George, and then yeah, but still, not the best weekend for Norris, and I think he's gonna have to pattern up some stuff coming into the next races, because I would have thought he'd be better this weekend, basically. Behrman, solid drive from the guy. Again, first points of this season for him, and I'm really glad that he's been able to do it after the challenging weekend he had in Australia. Again, in the Haas as well. These points are massive for this team, so, and as a rookie as well, even more. Big congrats to the guy. And we have the Ferrari boys. Honestly, I don't quite know how they actually rank teams if they get disqualified in the Grand Prix, because if it's based on the sprint alone, then, I mean, Hamilton could have been pretty high if it was based on the sprint alone. But obviously, we saw that the pace of Hamilton, especially in the race, was not there. So I understand why he's down pretty low in these rankings. I would not have even been surprised if he was not on the rankings at all for the top 10, because it was just not a good race from him. Leclerc, pretty good showing, and he definitely made up for his earlier form in the weekend in the race, especially with a broken front wing. The pace was pretty respectable from the guy, yeah, he deserves to be above Hamilton for these rankings. And then Stroll, he's been underrated so far. A lot of people were clowning him, but he's showing up this season. He's on something different, and right now he's carrying Aston Martin. Like, we have to just say that. I mean, I know Alonso is retired in both of the first two races, but Stroll is right with Alonso in qualifying as well. I think Stroll is he's just ready this year. So it'll be interesting to see how his form continues. But yeah, we shall see.